A lot of parents are upset over New Jersey's new sex education curriculum. Now, the plan requires second graders to learn about gender identity this fall, and that includes instructions for teachers to tell students their gender identity is up to them. New Jersey's Republican Party warning, quote, Democrats lied to parents, belittled and shamed them for wanting a say in their children's education. And now they're about to find out this November what happens when you mess with people's kids. Kaylee, just like what happened in Virginia.
Exactly. Except I would argue what's happening in New Jersey is more egregious than the CRT that was being taught in Virginia. And they're both bad. There's bad and worse. But what's happening in New Jersey, you know, I have a 2-year-old. I teach her, you know, your little lady parts. You use like very cute, sweet words to talk about those really personal, intimate body parts. But these second graders are going to go to class in New Jersey, and one of the suggested lessons plans, it's not an official one, but it's just like a model of what you can teach, uses the word V, uses these graphic words we use to describe our body parts, and takes away the innocence of a child, the right of a parent to slow walk their child into learning about these very intimate topics that should be between a parent and a child. But look, good luck with this. Mama Bear is real angry. I'm not the only Mama Bear who's angry. I go across the country. I heard it in Montana last week. I heard it this weekend when I was down in Miami. People are angry. Look at Virginia. Look at what happened. A fourth of voters, according to our Fox News voter analysis, voted based on CRT, and they broke for Glenn Youngkin to the tune of 78%. So best of luck to the left. Go talk about teaching kids body parts. See you in November.
Yeah, and Kilmeade, so the underpinning here is that the government is trying to take away the authority and control you as a parent have over your child's education or your child's life, right? And the theme is that parents are pushing back. We saw it in Virginia, we saw it in Florida, now we're seeing it in New Jersey. When are Democrats going to get the message?
I'm not sure. I will say this, over the weekend, you know, when the Sunday shows, they have all those panel discussions, they say, believe it or not, and I'm always surprised that they're surprised. Most people in Florida don't like the bill and don't call it the Don't Say Gay bill. We know why? Because it doesn't say that in the bill.
Yeah.
I have never seen someone so blatantly dishonest as people who lay that the Don't Say Gay bill. It's not even in the bill. Read the bill. And Ron DeSantis, once again, he looked like a guy that said, you just keep giving me victories? Are you kidding me? Read the bill and then come back to me. Now, little by little, as the critics start waning, in come 9 other states to follow in his wake. And then New Jersey comes out and says, oh, yeah, for second graders, name 4 intimate body. Doesn't use words intimate body parts, but it's intimate parts of your body. You have to name 4 if I guess you want to get this quiz right. So New Jersey, tone deaf, thinks that parents, because it's a blue state, want to hear about sexual preferences and sexuality with K through 3rd. That's not even logical.
I don't even
Yeah,
think
that's the thing, Carly.
Yeah.
So the only reason that narrative is working from the left is because it's a false narrative. To Kilmeade's great point, they're gaslighting voters and saying this is what's in the bill when we know that 68% plus of people who read the bill, they're in Florida, for example, are for it.
Yeah, and that's because the Florida Parental Rights Bill is all about not teaching kindergarten through 3rd grade about gender identity and, you know, sexual identity issues. It reminds me of the disingenuousness of the Georgia voting law, and when they called that racist, they're saying that this is a Don't Say Gay bill. It has nothing to do with, you know, saying the word gay or not. I also remember a few months ago, a Democratic state representative in Wisconsin posted a tweet saying, if parents want to have a say in their kids' education, they should homeschool them or pay for private school. She said that to her tax-paying constituents, which were not happy about that. But they're not even really hiding the fact that they think that teachers should have more of a say in molding a child than their parents, their own flesh and blood. So if this is going on in 2022, what is 2032, 2042 going to look like? And that's why it's so important that people fight back now.
So what I was going to say, I don't even know if it's because we are a blue state. I live in New Jersey, and I've never talked to as many of my neighbors as I'm talking to now. This issue has lit something inside of all of us as parents, because we were told, so let me just finish that thought. What they're saying is it's more performative for the progressives on the left. That's why they think they're doing that. It's not just because we are a blue state. I mean cobalt blue in New Jersey, right? It is that idea that, well, they know that there's going to be some bleeding in the midterms. That affects everybody, by the way, in the party. So Governor Murphy, he's looking, he just won re-election. He's not worried, but everybody down the pike is wondering, well, then who fills in that seat? Are we going to lose that seat? So now you see this performative action. But here's the point. I was in line recently and I talked to a parent of an LGBT child who's going through transition right now, a teenager at this point. And this mom, along with her husband, standing there as we're in line, says to me, well, how do you think this makes us feel? No one's talking to us as parents of children in transition. And she said, I wanted to have that discussion. And I'm so glad I did, because I think my child is more whole and knows that what our acceptance is and our values in our household are rooted in love and not politics. She said, I don't like this because it's rooted in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I had never thought of it from the perspective of, wait a minute, you want to make laws to talk to people about Tinder issues starting in 2nd grade, and you're not listening to anybody while you make these laws.
And people are so scared they're not even answering the question when they say, what is a man and what is a woman?
That's right.
That's how crazy.
That's
up
right.
Up is down and down is up.
But the bottom line is, what happens in your home is the parental choice. That's the purview of your own family, not the government.
And the U.S. is falling behind in education as well.
That's right.
That's what school's all about.
Exactly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.